Hey, welcome back to the 5-Minute Strategist. Today I want to chat about information overload. I am feeling that in a big way with this upcoming week. I've got a few programs that I'm in that I feel like I've fallen a bit behind in. I've got my library level Kindle collection waiting for me. And that's before I even think about the data and information coming at me about and around my business. The sheer volume of data, trends, insights that we have access to as small business owners can feel overwhelming. We're bombarded by new data every single day. Social media stats, customer feedback, market reports, email campaigns. It just feels endless. And it's not just about the volume of information, but the speed at which it comes at you. There's breaking news, latest trends, customer preferences that change overnight. It's a challenge for us to stay even remotely up to date. But while we're drinking from this fire hose of information, it's critical to understand that somewhere in that stream is the little nugget of wisdom that you need to guide your next business decision. You just have to find it. There are two major impacts of this information overload on small businesses. On the one hand, it can lead you into this decision analysis paralysis. You have got so much data that you can't even get through it to figure out what you should do. On the other hand, it can create this reactionary approach where you've got all this information coming at you. It feels like all of this pressure, and you want to do anything to just release that pressure. And so you make a quick decision without fully understanding the implications. Both of these scenarios are detrimental to you and your business. When these little nuggets of wisdom or these key insights are buried in this deluge of irrelevant data, chances are you're going to miss opportunities, you're going to waste your resources on strategies that don't align with your business goals, and it's easy to see why this information overload forms a barrier to success. But if you can develop the ability to distill the right information and then leverage it, you can start to predict trends, understand your customers better, and innovate. But only if you can focus on the most relevant data. So you're not just collecting data, you're analyzing it for insights that can drive your business. So we want to be asking, what does this data mean for my business and how can I use it to my advantage? It's about being curious, it's about digging for trends, it's about understanding the story that the data is telling you. And it's about prioritizing, which means you have to know which data points are critical for decision making and which are just distractions. And the first step to this is analyzing your current information flow. Take a look at how data comes into your business and into your life. Where does it tend to pile up? And do these things inform your business strategy? You need to identify the channels of information that are the most relevant to your goals and then ruthlessly focus on them. And in order to do this, you're going to need to establish some systems that help you to organize and process information. So you need to understand where your information comes from, filter out the noise, and focus on the data that will genuinely influence your business decisions. So your data strategy needs to start with what are the objectives for the data that you're gathering. Then you want to have a process for how often you'll look at the data, who in your team is responsible for it, and who's going to do the analysis. Just like every other part of your business, data needs to be managed to be effective. Once you've gathered your data, you've filtered out the noise, you're left with the data that can actually influence your business decisions. This is where you start to look for patterns and signals in your data that match to business outcomes. So this can be a bit of a learning experience, right? You're not going to necessarily recognize it the first time. This takes time and it takes practice and it takes understanding the right data. Sometimes it's easier to work backwards. So think, I had this huge boost in sales last week. Dig back as far as you can to the driver of that spike. And then you know that driver triggers that spike. And you can test that going forwards to see if they correlate. You can also use it the other way. If you think that driving more website traffic will spike your sales, for example, you could test the relationship between website traffic and sales for a while until you see how much of a correlation there is. It's important to remember that data isn't just numbers on a screen or a snapshot of your business. If you can prioritize your data so that the most impactful information rises to the top, that data is going to tell you a story of how you can grow your business.